Ubizo Lungibize engalweni Ngiyokhalela bani nayi iphimbo lami liphindaphinde entabeni Ngithi inyawo zami ngibeleze kulomhlaba nemsini Ngifunana noxolo engalweni
Sawubona to you, sawubona to yours, from one great spirit to another. Welcome to Ubizo Daily. Today we return to something many people misunderstand. Rest. Not rest as laziness, not rest as avoidance, but rest as discipline. Because in a world that glorifies constant movement, many people have learned how to work hard, but very few have learned how to rest well. Or they've never learned it all, and without proper rest, I've come to understand that even the strongest spirit eventually begins to weaken. Let's speak about the misunderstanding of rest. Many people see rest as something you earn after exhaustion, something you take only when you can no longer continue, but that is not rest. That, I would phrase it as recovery from damage. True rest is not something you wait for after breaking yourself. It is something you build into your life intentionally, because rest is not the opposite of productivity. It is, however, what sustains it. Let's speak about rest versus escape. There is a difference between resting and escaping. I've come to understand that rest restores you, whereas on the other hand, escape distracts you. Scrolling endlessly is not always rest. Avoiding responsibilities is not rest. And also numbing yourself from pressure is not rest either, because after escape, you often feel the same or even more drained. But true rest leaves you clearer, lighter, and more present. The difference is intention. Are you restoring your energy or avoiding your reality? Let's speak about the cost of ignoring rest. When rest is ignored, I've come to understand that the consequences do not immediately appear. They appear gradually. Fatigue that does not go away, irritation over small things, loss of focus, emotional instability, and eventually burnout. Not because the person is weak, but because they have been running without renewal. Even the strongest systems in nature have cycles of rest, day and night, seasons of growth and stillness. The human spirit is no different. Let's speak about rest as a strategic practice. Rest must be practiced with intention, just like work, just like discipline, scheduling time to pause, creating space for silence, allowing the mind to settle, and also just stepping away before exhaustion forces you to stop. This is not laziness. This is wisdom, because when rest is used strategically, it protects your energy, your clarity, and your long-term consistency. Let's speak about rest and self-trust. Something deeper happens when you begin to rest properly. You start rebuilding trust with yourself. Trust that you will not push yourself until you break. Trust that you will listen when your body and mind need recovery. Trust that your worth is not only measured by how much you produce, because many people struggle to rest, not because they cannot, but because they feel guilty when they do. And that guilt often comes from tying self-worth only to productivity. Let's speak about sustainable strength. The goal of discipline is not short bursts of effort. The goal is sustainability, the ability to show up consistently over time, and that requires balance, work and rest, effort and recovery, movement and stillness, because a life built without rest eventually collapses under its own weight, but a life built with rhythm becomes enduring. So today, reflect honestly. Is your rest intentional, or is it something you only allow when you are already exhausted? Because rest is not a reward for finishing the journey. Rest is what makes it possible to continue the journey. And when you begin to treat rest as a discipline, you are no longer just working, you are building a life that can last. Until next time, okuhle, umusa, kanye nokukhanya ekuhambeni kwakho. Light, mercy, and blessings upon your journey. Ubizo Daily, the call continues.